Today, we're going to be talking about something quite confronting to a lot of high achieving women. And that is the truth about feminine energy that most high achieving women are not being told, not even by a lot of feminine energy teachers on YouTube. Now, if you're successful, independent, intelligent, and used to leading, then this conversation is for you because feminine energy is not what social media has made it seem. It's not about being quiet. It's not about shrinking. It's not about pretending to be helpless. And it's definitely not about being lazy and extracting all a man's resources. So let's clear that up right now. Feminine energy is not entitlement. It is not manipulation. It is not sitting back and doing nothing while expecting a man to fund your lifestyle. In fact, none of this is polarity, it is immaturity. A truly feminine energy woman is valuable to a man, and in this video, we're going to be talking about what that is, and I'm going to be sharing some uncomfortable truths about feminine energy so you're not shocked and surprised while you are on this journey. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. Lately, we've been talking about polarity in relationships. We've been talking about nervous system regulation, how I manifested my husband in 4 months, and a lot of other really juicy topics. If that's something that you're interested in, please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel, and give it a like because it helps us get it in front of more women so we can clear up a lot of the confusion that we have in the modern world. And if you're new to this feminine energy journey, then make sure to download our free Enhance Your Feminine Energy guide, which you can find below. It'll walk you through how to enhance your feminine energy in healthy ways, in non-distorted ways, in different areas of your life over the course of the next week. It's completely free. You can grab it below. And as always, if I have any other courses or resources that are available to help you go deeper into the content of this video, then I will make mention of them throughout the video, but you can find them all in the description. So let's talk about what it means when a truly feminine woman is valuable. What it means to be a feminine energy woman who can attract a healthy masculine man is the following. It means that she's emotionally intelligent. It means that she is supportive. It means that she is inspiring. And it means that she cultivates beauty, peace, and warmth in her world, right? Whether that world is like her one-bedroom apartment or a mansion or her work or wherever she goes, she is creating this in her world. She contributes through presence, through energy, and through depth. And she understands that receiving from a man is not the same as extracting from a man, which I recently did a video on the difference about that for those of you who want to check it out. Because when you're in healthy feminine energy, you're not actually draining a man, you are amplifying a man. And healthy masculine men know when this woman is in his presence and he will wife her up real quick. So now let's talk about the part that no one tells high achieving women. When you are entering feminine energy for the first time and you've built your entire life on masculine energy and control, then it can feel really scary to a woman. I know it was for me. It was terrifying to learn how to surrender my life to living in a more feminine way. Because masculine energy, which is what I was used to in my own life and how I was used to behaving, is structure, execution, direction, and control. Now, have I let go of all of those things in my life? Of course not. I just don't have to lean on them as much as I used to. I just use them when necessary. Before, I was using them all the time in every area of my life, constantly, and it was draining. So that would be one of the differences. And masculine energy is typically, for a high achieving woman, the energy that helped you build your career, the energy that helped you make money, the energy that helped you survive if you were ever in a state of survival, and it taught you to handle everything on your own. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. I say this all the time. When I went through my masculine energy era, I learned a lot of really valuable skills that I still use to this day. Some of those skills help my husband when he needs it, right? Some of those skills build YouTube channels like this. Some of those skills attract money very easily, although now I attract money without having to work nearly as hard as I used to. But I have useful skills that I learned from that era of my life. And I value those skills. I value what I learned. It was a part of my development as a human in this lifetime. The problem was that that energy is what became my default identity in every area of my life, including relationships. And then what happens is you start attracting dynamics that you don't actually desire. What happens is you attract feminine men. Men who are passive, men who don't want to lead, men who don't want to commit to you, men who feel comfortable letting you carry all the weight while he does nothing. And then you feel resentful. Not because you're too strong, but because the polarity in the relationship is missing. You do not feel claimed as a woman. You do not feel like you can rest. You cannot feel like you can surrender, which most women, to be honest, want to live in their feminine energy most of the time. But most women are also terrified of feminine energy because they feel that if they live more in their feminine energy, that they're going to lose control and they're going to lose everything that they've built. That was the case for me, right? I felt like I was completely losing control of my life when I started surrendering more to feminine energy, which to me looked like surrendering a lot more to some sort of higher power and having to rely on source or God or spirit or the universe or whatever you want to call it for my sustenance while I was going through this very hard transition, because I had built my entire life based on fear, survival, and control, because it was learned behavior, right? It was learned behavior from the women in my family. So when I consciously decided, no, I'm going to do this in a different way because I'm exhausted, and if I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm probably going to end up sick. I'm probably going to end up single for the rest of my life, and I might have money, but I mean, it still sucks, right? Like having money and being single and unhealthy still sucks, right? So I knew I had to make changes in my life, especially when I realized that I was not living by my natural design, being a feminine energy, feminine essence woman. And that's why I felt like I had to control everything all the time. So when I started to lean on that, I did feel like I was losing control. My anxiety did get higher. My ego got a lot louder for a while there because it was dying, right? The personality that I had built was dying. So of course it got a lot louder. And I did end up losing a business because that business was no longer in alignment with where I was going in my life. So at the time it felt like a huge loss and a huge hit to my ego. But I just said the magic word. It was all ego. That's all it was. Now, a lot of times women may also be afraid to embark more on a feminine energy journey or embrace more feminine energy because they feel like it makes them susceptible to danger. And of course, that's completely understandable. I mean, look at the stuff we got going on with the Epstein files right now and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, these things do exist in the world, and feminine energy does require you to be vulnerable. But the version of feminine energy that is wounded and a victim and isn't strong isn't necessarily the empowered feminine either. A feminine energy woman who's learned how to surrender and be vulnerable, she's still strong. It's just her version of strength is very different from a man's version of strength. A man's version of strength is more like outside. It's outside strength. A woman's version of strength is on the inside. And that's why I always tell women, like, hey, you really want to get into feminine energy, like, quickly? Learn how to regulate your nervous system and learn how to regulate your emotions and not live from a constant state of emotion because it's messing up your life, right? And a regulated woman naturally is magnetic and lives in feminine energy. However, a woman also has to look at the alternative, that if she does not start embracing more feminine energy and continues living from a place of masculine energy, then she's going to repel masculine men. And if you want to be in a relationship, and if you want to be in a partnership, and if you want to be in a marriage, then it's really important that you really start to learn to embrace this feminine energy. And now that I've been living from this place for a few years, yes, it cost me my old life. Okay, it really cost me my old life, and it was challenging for me to marry the identity of my old life and the good things that I learned from that era of my life, like I was saying, and learn how to integrate those things into my new life where I am a wife and I am more living from a feminine energy space. And I don't have to, be in constant survival mode all the time like I used to. And I am in partnership. And it was challenging for me to learn how to do that. And that is a part of this journey and this process as you learn and you evolve through those 4 stages of feminine energy that I teach. However, I can also now tell you money comes a lot more easily than it used to. Money comes passively through this channel, and this is something that I built on the side because my husband and I I'll share it some other time, but we have a dream and a vision for this particular YouTube channel and where it fits into our lives and what it is that we're building. But this YouTube channel brings in money passively. I never had that happen in any of my previous businesses where I was constantly hustling and grinding. I can also tell you that my health dramatically improved when I started embracing more feminine energy. I struggled with hormonal issues for 10 to 15 years. I mean, it was crazy. Basically, as long as I can remember, I think maybe I was 20, I think is the first time I remember having a lot of hormonal issues and cycle issues. And I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and I had to go through like some serious protocols in order to like regulate my hormones again. And I had to take all these supplements. Well, when I started embracing more feminine energy in my life, guess what happened? A lot of those problems disappeared. Problems I'd been struggling with for over a decade started to disappear. So, although it was scary, and I can understand it for you as a woman, you're like, oh God, I have to surrender. I have to get in feminine energy. I have to stop controlling everything around me. It's terrifying if all we've ever known and been shown is control. But I can now tell you, after having gone through the discomfort of surrendering to feminine energy, that it has been 1000% worth it. And anything I lost, to be honest, I feel wealthier now than I did back then, right? It's just I'm wealthy in all areas of my life, not just in my career, which, you know, if I'm being honest, because I had done it mostly from a masculine energy place, eventually started to feel like a cage, which is where many of you may be feeling right now. So you also have to consider the alternative for those of you who are scared to really embrace this. Now let's get back to the men, because that's what a lot of you come to this YouTube channel for. So masculine men are attracted to feminine energy because it allows them to step into their leadership. If you're the one directing, planning, controlling, initiating, there's no space for him, a masculine, healthy man, to lead. So he's just not going to be attracted to you. Now, feminized men will be attracted to you. Men who don't care if you carry the burden and the weight of everything are going to be attracted to you. Men who want a mommy are going to be attracted to you, but healthy masculine men are not. They're not going to be, because they don't want to be dating another man. That's literally what it comes down to. And this does not mean that you are incapable. Okay, this is another one of the stories that women tell themselves, and I used to tell myself too. Oh, if I'm more in feminine energy, does that mean I just become incapable? Or does it mean that all these really useful skills that I learned just disappear? I mean, I went through all of this, right, as I was shifting my identity, and I can tell you that how to you learn how to shift, right? You learn how to bring the good parts of your masculine energy era, as I said, and combine that and marry that with the empowered feminine. It does not mean that those things go away. Your identity does change, and it changes in a very dramatic way. But also, you know, even if you lose whatever you think you're going to lose, you know, like I lost a business, for example. I mean, the rewards that you get on the other side are so much better than anything that you could lose. And I'm remembering this quote, like, in order for you to get your new life, it's going to cost you your old one. And that's what I kept telling myself when I too was scared. And I was like, am I incapable? Does that mean that I'm just like dead meat for everyone and I'm just prey for everyone? Does that mean I'm never going to make money again? Like all these crazy stories that we tell ourselves, right? So again, you learn how to shift and you start to realize that most of these stories are just not true. They're just stories that we have in our head because we are scared. And we start to learn that feminine energy is about receptivity. It's about emotional depth. It's about presence. It's about responding instead of forcing. It's about responding to your environment instead of controlling the environment, which for a recovering control freak, and if you are one, I see you, because I too am a recovering control freak, that's really freaking scary. Right? So give yourself some grace and some time, because it truly can feel terrifying, because it requires you to trust on levels that you've never trusted before. Trust that you don't have to control everything. Trust that you are safe. Trust that if a man is interested, he is going to actually move toward you. Trust that you don't need to overperform in order to be chosen. Trust that you don't have to prove anything. And here's another truth that no one talks about. Your nervous system is what's going to determine the polarity and what you're able to manifest into your life. Because you don't actually manifest what you want or what you desire. You manifest what you feel safe with, and you manifest your identity and who you believe that you actually are. And for a lot of high achieving women, they feel unsafe in their own bodies. In fact, many high achieving women are completely disconnected from their bodies. It's like all the energy, and I know because I hear you all in the coaching calls and I read the emails, right? It's like all the energy's up here all the time. Ticky, 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 ticky. And then from here down, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's dead. You feel nothing. And a lot of that is control, and a lot of that is just not feeling safe. And what happens is when you don't feel safe, you're going to default to wanting to control everything around you. You're going to replay scenarios in your head that happened 3 years ago over and over and over again. You're going to want to control every minute detail of your life. If you're already in a partnership, you're going to want to control your man. If you are in a business, you're going to want to control every aspect of the business, and you're not going to trust people to help you. If you are dating, right, then you're going to want to control the dating situation to create the outcome that it is that you want. If you had a situation play out in your life that didn't go the way that you wanted it to, you're going to replay that thing over and 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 over in your head, trying to figure out what is the answer, what is the solution. Well, sometimes the answer and the solution is to move on. But if you're a controlling person, then you don't want to move on. You want to hang on to the control. So when you don't feel safe, you overfunction, you overgive, you overplan, you overthink. Some of y'all, I gotta be honest, some of y'all are a neurotic mess. Okay, sorry, I say that with love, but somebody's got to tell you, because your therapists clearly are not telling you, that some of you are a little bit of a neurotic mess, right? And a lot of that just has to do with not feeling safe and wanting to control everything around you. And when you're in a state where you don't feel safe and you want to control everything around you, it's not that you're masculine by nature, it's that your body, for some reason, learned that control is what equals safety. That overthinking means that you're going to come up with a better solution. That overplanning means that things are going to go your way. That overgiving means that a guy is going to want you. That overfunctioning means that you are worthy of the money. Do you see how like twisted and messed up this is? But this is where a lot of women are living. And when you regulate your nervous system, you start to regulate your reality. This is what happened to me, because I was you, okay? I was doing all those things as well. And when I learned to regulate my nervous system and really start taking care of myself in like the deepest ways I've ever taken care of myself, and I don't mean just like working out and eating right, because I've been doing that since I was in my early 20s. I mean like really emotionally taking care of myself for probably the first time ever in my life, and I really started learning how to regulate myself. Everything started to shift very quickly. A lot of things fell away that didn't need to be there anymore. Like I said, I gave up my old life for the new life. But the new life started to shift really fast. And it all comes down to nervous system regulation. And I can tell you right now that my husband and I are in a state of expansion in our lives. His business is blowing up. This one, although I haven't been able to dedicate as much time to it because we just haven't had a chance, is also still steadily growing all the time with new students and new customers and new subscribers coming in. My creativity is super back online. We just, adopted a rescue puppy. Like there's just constant expansion happening all the time, all the time, all the time. We've got more visibility than ever in my husband's business. There's money coming in all the time. Our love is really good. Like I said, we expanded the family via a puppy that we're taking care of right now. Like there's so much expansion and it's happening so fast that I still have to go back to my tools to regulate my nervous system, to expand my container, to keep receiving more and more and more. So this isn't a one and done. This is a for the rest of your life thing. And a regulated woman, what she can do is she can soften without collapsing. When you're not regulated, you collapse. And I know that deeply because that's what happened to me. I wasn't regulated and I eventually collapsed, and that collapse became my spiritual awakening. She can also receive without feeling guilty or weak. So many of you feel guilty when you receive because you feel like you have not earned it, you have not proved it, you did nothing for it, and then all the guilt and shame starts to come up, and guilt and shame are some pretty useless emotions, really, at the end of the day. And what happens, right, is that she can also say no without explaining herself. She can do things that take care of her. This might be TMI, what I'm about to say, but I'm going to give you an example from my real life, right? I'm exhausted right now because I'm on my moon cycle. This puppy's been keeping me up all night. He's a rescue, so he needs a lot of attention. We're healing up his paw. If we think he was bitten by something, we're healing up When we rescued him, his paw was all messed up and all kinds of stuff, and I've been nursing him back to health. So we haven't been sleeping very much since we got this puppy. My husband's business is expanding like crazy as well, so he's needed my support and my help with certain things as we get his office space. As the office gets up to par, it's just been a little crazy with like contractors and business coming in and just all kinds of expansion and craziness all happening at the same time. Hello, year of the fire horse. And then I've also was grieving for the last month or so because we lost our golden retriever who my husband had for 11 years. So the last month has been absolutely nuts. It's been completely insane in sad ways, if you want to put it that way, and also really beautiful and expansive ways. But your girl is tired. Your girl is tired, but she is here filming these videos for you because she knows they're so important. But here's what I'm doing for myself, right? Here's what I've learned to do. Old Amanda, who was constantly controlling, old Amanda would get very upset that she hasn't gotten very much sleep in the last few days. She would get very upset that she could not control every single little area of her life. She would try and push through and film like 20 videos today instead of just being like, hey, we're gonna do 4 and that's it and we're taking a nap. Right? She would do certain things like skip workouts, because she just didn't have the time and had to get so much done and control everything. I did 30 minutes of restorative yoga this morning. It was beautiful. So again, I've learned to take care of myself and I've learned to regulate myself. And when you do that, right, that is feminine power, right? And when you do that, you also start to learn how to not live from a place of constant scarcity and fear. I lived from a place of constant scarcity and fear. And when I learned to regulate myself and I really learned how to take care of myself for the first time, and I gave you a real life example of how I'm doing that today, then I no longer live from a place of scarcity and fear. And when you no longer identify with scarcity and fear, you start to live more in your feminine energy and your feminine power, right? Now, one of the things that I want to do, right, is I want to go back to money for a second because this is where a lot of women get scared. A lot of women will be like, oh, I'm going to go in my feminine energy and I'm just going to stop making money. No, you're not, right? So number one, you can attract more money from a provider, right? Men love to give. Healthy masculine men love to give. They don't even want you to have to work. They don't. They really don't. They don't feel like men if they know that they've put you, his woman, in a position where she has to work. It actually depresses them. That's number one. Number two, this is for some of you. This is not for all of you, right? Some of you may get in partnerships where you're building businesses together. And that's also a really beautiful thing if you know how to navigate that and maintain the polarity when you're doing that. And then some of you, right, because you are no longer worried about money and there's so much provision happening in your life, then you start doing what I did with Mindful Success Path, which is like, hey, I have this new creative project that I'm going to go play around with, and I'm going to use, a lot of the useful skills that I learned in my, previous experience and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to use it and I'm going to help women and I'm going to help people in relationships and I'm going to help them regulate their nervous systems. And then boom, you've got a business again. So this idea that because you start living from a more feminine energy space does not mean that all of a sudden you're going to stop making money. That was a huge fear that I had. And I got to be honest, it did happen because I had built my life chasing money, right? But I don't chase it anymore. Now it comes to me. I will give examples. In my previous life, in my previous businesses, there was hustling, there was grinding, there was pushing myself past my limits. I gave examples of how I'm not doing that today. Now, and I'm seeing this with my husband's business in particular, we had people show up to a networking event or a conference that was for like Mexico YouTubers for our relocation and real estate business. People flew in from other places in Mexico to come meet us because we've helped them on YouTube through Entrepreneur Expat. We've had people ride their bike from one town to another town to come see us at our new office. We have people that we don't even know, like never met these people ever, recommending our relocation and real estate business in expat Facebook groups. We have passive income coming in all the time through Airbnb bookings that my husband manages some of those properties. We've got real estate listings coming to us all the time. Like we're not hustling for this, right? It's all coming to us. Now, I believe that a big part of the reason why, and this is what feminine energy women need to understand, I hold a lot of the energetic pull in the relationship, right? So when my husband opened his office, right, and it was like, I mean, it's not ready yet, we're still installing some things, but we've started taking meetings. I immediately went in there, I was cleansing energy. I'm like, let's do a ritual to see like the business coming through. Like, I hold a lot of the energetic pull in the relationship. If my husband had a bad day at work, I'm the one making him feel better, right? And I'm like, hey, here, have this meal, or hey, how about we do this? I'm there for him. I'm like, I believe in you, I know you can do it. Like, women don't even realize that when they're in their feminine energy power, just how much influence they have over their environment. In fact, you have more influence over your environment and how much money you make and how it comes to you than when you were trying to control everything all the time. And you're going to be able to achieve more while doing less. And this is one of those things that I never freaking understood, but now I get it because I've been in this space for a few years where I can achieve more, achieve, right? Mostly because now it comes to me a lot more while doing a hell of a lot less than I used to, which means I'm no longer exhausted, which means that there's still money in the bank without having to hustle and grind, which means that there's love in my life, which means that my body gets to be healthy again. This is what truly starts to happen. So once you get over that fear and you realize, once again, these are all just lies that we women tell ourselves because we're trying to control and we've been taught to control, your life honestly gets magical. But it requires a deep rewiring of your mind and a shift to living in feminine energy and being okay with letting go of your old life. And knowing that you are capable of facing those fears, you are capable of letting go of what doesn't serve you, and that you are worthy of having a life that is a lot easier than how you are living right now. That you are worthy of being cherished, that you are worthy of money being easier, that you are worthy of being healthy, and that you don't have to constantly control everything around you in order to be safe. This is a deep shift that we have to go through. And what I recommend for those of you where this is resonating is I recommend checking out the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, because that's where I go a lot deeper into concepts like nervous system regulation. There's a class in there called the Phoenix Path, right? So when you're losing everything, because normally when women come to this feminine energy journey conversation, something's happening with their health. They've lost a relationship, or it's rocky, or there's a shift in their career. Something's not working in their career anymore, and you feel like you're losing something, and your ego is coming up against all that. There's a class in Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle specifically to help you navigate this shift, because it's your evolution, right? It's your evolution into a life where things are just easier and life is beautiful and it's love and you have all the things that you desired. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. So Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle can help you navigate all the discomforts that can come up for women when it comes to their feminine energy journey. You can grab it below. I'll also put it on the screen here, and you can find all of our other classes below as well. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. I hope this helped clear up any confusion. Thank you for being the best part of this channel, and I will catch you on the next one.